Okay, so one of the coolest things that we did when we moved into this house is we had a lot of equity in it. We found this house on Zillow, which is something that I like, finding houses off market. And Zillow, most of the houses on Zillow are already on the MLS. I still look at them. I just love looking at houses. And I found this house about, I don't know, maybe 2 years before we even bought it. It was on the market. They had listed it for $1.2 million. It's 16 acres. It's right on the James River. It's beautiful. We have a garden that we've put in. We've got orchard. We've got everything. The kids love it. We want to eventually get a pool put in. Where I'm getting with this is I'm sitting in church one Sunday and I get a notification from Zillow, and I look down and I'm like, it's this house. And the price has been dropped to $600,000. Can you imagine? Like, I'm sitting there like, what the heck? It went from 1.2 to 600,000. So immediately, and this is where it's important to have your real estate agents. You know, I might not get all of my deals through my real estate agent, but I love having her because she goes and finds out the good stuff for me. She's kind of like my detective. And then on the back end, once we go to sell the properties, she can sell them for me and gain a commission from that. Now, a lot of people do it differently. A lot of people go and get their real estate license and they sell them themselves, or they do it for sale by owner, or they do it through other sites. Like, there's a site called forsalebyowner.com, and you can actually just pay them to put your property on the MLS, which is pretty cool. It was on the market for $1.2 million, and it dropped to 600. I immediately picked up my phone and I called my real estate agent and I said, what in the world? Like, what is going on? Like, this is so cool, but there's got to be something wrong, right? She's like, I have no idea. I'm on vacation in Maine. I'll look into it. So she calls me right back and she's like, I already looked into it. The house is it's gone into a short sale, and the bank they want it sold. So they lowered the price. They probably won't take $600,000 for it, because they're just trying to get offers. So it did bring in 3 people. Actually, probably brought in more than that, but they got three offers out of it. We had the opportunity to be the first offer in, but we were like, sitting on the fence, like the whole thing about like taking the plunge that I was talking about and being fearful. So we're like, I don't know, like, we still have this other house that we're living in and it hasn't sold yet, and it's gonna take a lot to sell that. And so we were a little scared. We decided to take that night and pray about it. And we prayed about it, and the next day I called the real estate agent and I said, I just don't think this is very responsible. This is not responsible at all of us to go buy this house or go put an offer on this house when we have this other house that was also over the $1 million range to sell. And for those of you, who are interested in real estate or know a lot about it, you know that only 3% of the real estate market can even afford those $1 million houses. So we were in a bracket that was high, and that's not even the percentage of people that are actually looking in that range. So I knew from my experience in real estate that this was going to be really difficult to sell that house. It wasn't just gonna be like, a quick sell. So the next day I woke up and I went to work, and I could not stop thinking about this house, even though we had made the decision not to put an offer on it. So what happened was, long story short, we ended up putting an offer on it. We got the offer in that next day. We were the second offer, and I was like, oh great. So the way the bank works is, on a short sale, is they review the offers in order of how they get them. So because we were the second offer, they had a first offer that they had to review first. And we knew that first offer was lower than our offer. They weren't interested in a $600,000 offer. They just wanted to get offers in to get this property sold. So we put in our offer at 700. And when we put the offer in at 700, I thought, there's no way we're gonna get this. Like, you know, the house is 6,200 square feet, okay? Like, and it's high end. You can't even build the house for that price, much less have 16 acres in addition to all that. So I just knew that this was not gonna be possible. But we did it anyway, right? Take the plunge. About 2 weeks went by and we got a phone call from our agent. And she said, the bank rejected the first offer and they're reviewing your offer. So I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like, okay. But you know, you still think, oh, they're not gonna take it. Well, it takes the bank about 2 weeks to review all of your stuff because there's a lot that goes into it. They've got to get an appraisal. You've got due diligence, all this stuff. You've got to get an inspection. There's a lot going on. So 2 weeks later, the bank comes back with a counter offer for $875. Well, remember, we still had this house that was $1 million, over $1 million that we still needed to sell somewhere else. And that wasn't in our budget. You know, we're living off of, my husband's a firefighter and I am just starting off trying to flip volume. So we're trying to make ends meet. There's no way that we could handle 2 mortgages. So we said no. I said, no way, man. We're not doing that because there's a third offer in there. Just take theirs. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And that's one of my biggest things that I go by. If something is meant to be, it's going to fall into place, right? Does that mean that you don't have to work as hard at it? No. I mean, you still have to like put effort into something, but if something's meant to be, it's going to fall into place eventually. And so I thought, you know, it's just not meant to be. We don't have the money to do that. You have to be smart about things. You can't just like, you know, say, oh, it's meant to be. I'm going to go $1 million into debt on this. We thought that at that point, the offer was thrown out. All right. We didn't sign anything. We just told them verbally, no, we're not going up to your counter. Well, about 2 weeks later, I'm sitting in the office and I get a phone call from my agent. And she's like, are you sitting down? And I'm like, yeah, I am now. Why? And she goes, the bank accepted your $700,000 offer. And I was like, what? I was shocked. And at the time we had our house on the market, the other one, I thought she was calling to tell me that she found a buyer for it already. And it had only been on the market for like maybe a month. So that was super exciting. That was like, you know, like it was so cool. And then I called Jesse and I said, we got the house. They gave us the bank accepted our offer. Oh crap, now what? And he was like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? Like, this is cool, but like, you know, it's like that moment where you're like, you don't know what to do. So we went into it. We put the down payment down, we got approved for the loan, and it was awesome. It took 9 months for our other house to sell. We had to pay 2 mortgage payments for 2 months, which was kind of rough, but we made things work. And once that house sold, guess what? We were able to pay this off. And this is where I'm getting to. If you have any equity in your house, the very best thing to do that you can do is to take out a credit line on your house. They're called HELOCs, home equity line of credit. And that's what we did. We took out a HELOC and we were able to start flipping volume immediately, okay? Not just with 50,000, not just with 100,000, but we were able to take a ton of money out in a credit line and start flipping. So if you have any equity in your house, that's what I would suggest doing. I would also suggest talking to as many people as you can, like, you know, friends, family, people out there. Let me tell you one thing really quick though. In my experience with talking to friends and family, guess what? They are hard. You want to borrow some money from family or friends? Whew, it's usually the hardest people to get money from, because they know they know you on a different level. They don't know you on this level of flipping houses, and so it's not that they don't trust you with their money. It's just that they don't trust you with their money. And plus, sometimes if things do go south on a deal, like you don't really want that relationship to go south as well. But like I said, once you start flipping more houses, you'll start learning that when you use a private lender, you can make them feel very, very secure. It's not as dangerous of a thing as most people think it is. You secure their loan in the property, so they've got their money in the property. So if it goes south, they just get the property and they can sell it, or they can do whatever they want with it. So it's very, very safe, and I love it. It's awesome.